Hello my dear students, welcome to Teacher at Home. Today class we are going to learn the fourth chapter, the Mughals, 16th to 17th century. Ruling as large as tertiary as the Indian subcontinent, such a diversity of people and culture was an extremely difficult task for any ruler to accomplish in the Middle Ages. Quite in contrast to the predecessors, the Mughals created an empire and accomplished what had hitherto seemed possible for only short periods of time. From the later half of the 16th century, they expanded their kingdom from Agra and Delhi until in the 17th century they controlled nearly all of the subcontinent. They imposed structures of administration and ideas of governance that outlasted their rule, leaving a political legacy that succeeding rulers of the subcontinent could not ignore. Today, the Prime Minister of India addresses the nation on Independence Day from the ramparts of the Red Fort in Delhi. That is, ramparts of Red Fort in Delhi, the residence of the Mughal emperors. Who are the Mughals? The Mughals were descendants of two great lineages of rulers. From their mother's side, they were descendants of Genghis Khan, died 1227, the Mongol ruler who ruled over parts of China and Central Asia. From the father's side, they were the successors of Timur, the ruler of Iran, Iraq, and modern-day Turkey. However, the Mughals did not like to be called Mughal or Mongol. This was because Genghis Khan's memory was associated with the massacre of innumerable people. It was also linked with the Uzbeks, their Mongol competitors. On the other hand, the Mughals were proud of their Timurid ancestry, not least of all because their great ancestor had captured Delhi in 1398. They celebrated the genealogy pictorially, each ruler getting a picture made of Timur and himself. Mughal military campaigns. Babur, the first Mughal emperor, 1526 to 1530, succeeded to have the throne of Fergana in 1494 when he was only 12 years old. He was forced to leave his ancestral throne due to the invention of another Mongol group, the Uzbeks. After years of wandering, he seized Kabul in 1504. In 1526, he defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat and captured Delhi and Agra. Mughal traditions of succession. The Mughals did not believe in the rule of primogeniture, where the elder son inherited his father's estate. Instead, they followed the Mughal and Timurid custom of copercinary inheritance on a division of inheritance amongst all the sons. Which do you think is a fairer divisions of inheritance, primogeniture or copercinary? Mughal relations with other rulers. The Mughal rulers combined constantly against rulers who refused to accept their authority. But as the Mughals became powerful, many other rulers also joined the voluntarily. Rajputs are a good example of this. Many of them married their daughters to Mughal families and received high positions, but many resisted as well. Mughal marriages with the Rajputs. The mother of Jahangir was a Kanjanwaha princess, daughter of the Rajput ruler Amber, modern-day Jaipur. The mother of Shah Jahan was the Rathur princess, a daughter of a Rajput ruler of Marwar, Jodhpur. The Sisodia Rajputs of Mewar refused to accept Mughal authority for a long time. Once defeated, however, they were honorably treated by the Mughals. Given their lands, Watan, back as assignments, Watan Jahir, the careful balance between defeating but not humiliating their opponents enabled the Mughals to extend their influence over many kings and chieftains. But it was difficult to keep this balance all the time. Mansabdars and Jagirdars. As the empire expanded to encompass different regions, the Mughals recruited diverse bodies of people. From a small nucleus of Turkish nobles, Turanis, they expanded to include Iranians, Indian Muslims, Afghans, Rajputs, Marathas, and other groups. Those who joined Mughal service were enrolled as Mansabdars. The term Mansabdar referred to an individual who holds a Mansab, meaning a position or rank. It was a grading system used by the Mughals to fix rank, salary, and military responsibilities. Rank and salary were determined by a numerical value called Sat. The higher the Sat, the more prestigious was the noble's position in court and the larger his salary. Sat ranking. Nobles with a Sat of 5,000 were ranked higher than those of 1,000. In Akbar's reign, there were 29 Mansabdars with a rank of 5,000 Sat. By Aurangzeb's reign, the number of Mansabdars had increased to 79. Mansabdars received their salaries or revenue assignments called Jagirs, which were sometimes like Iktas. But unlike Muktis, most Mansabdars did not actually reside in administrate their Jagirs. They only have right to the revenue of their assignments, which was collected for them by their servants, while the Mansabdars themselves served in some other part of the country. In Akbar's reign, the Jagirs were carefully assessed so that their revenues were roughly equal to the salary of the Mansabdar. By Aurangzeb's reign, this was no longer the case, and the actual revenue collected was often less than the granted sum. There was also a huge increase in the number of Mansabdars, which meant a long wait before they received a Jagir. These and other factors created a shortage in the number of Jagirs. As a result, many Jagirdars tried to extract as much revenue as possible while they had a Jagir. Aurangzeb was unable to control this development in the last years of his reign, and peasantry therefore suffered tremendously. Zabt and Jamindars. The main source of income available for Mughal rulers was tax to produce on the peasantry. Most places, peasants paid taxes through the ruler elites, that is, the headman or the local chieftain. The Mughals used one term, Jamindars, to describe all intermediaries, whether they were local headmen or villages of powerful chieftains. Akbar's revenue minister, Toderma, carried out a careful survey of crop fields, prices, and areas cultivated for a 10-year period, 1570 to 1580. On the basis of this data, tax was fixed on each crop in cash. Each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rate for individual crops. This revenue system was known as Zabat. It was prevalent in those areas where Mughal administrations could survey the land and keep it very careful accounts. This was not possible in provinces such as Gujarat and Bengal. In some areas, the zamindars exercised a great deal of power. Exploitation by Mughal administrators could drive them to rebellion. Sometimes zamindars and peasants of the same caste allied in rebellion against Mughal authority. These peasants' revolts challenged the stability of the Mughal Empire from the end of the 17th century. Akbarnama and Ain-e-Akbari. Akbar ordered one of his close friends and courtiers, Abul Fazl, to write a history of his reign. Abul Fazl wrote a 3-volume history of Akbar's reign titled Akbarnama. The first volume dealt with Akbar's ancestors, and the second volume recorded the events of Akbar's reign. The third volume is the Ain-e-Akbari. It deals with Akbar's administration, household, army, revenues, and the geography of his empire. It also provides rich details about the traditions and culture of the people living in India. Most interesting aspect about the Ain-e-Akbari is its rich statistical details about things as diverse as crops, yields, prices, wages, and revenues. Nur Jahan's influence in Jahangir's court. Meher married the Emperor Jahangir in 1611 and received the title Nur Jahan. She remained extremely loyal and supportive to the monarch. As a mark of honor, Jahangir struck silver coins bearing his own titles on one side of, and on the other the inscription struck in the name of the Queen Begum Nur Jahan. Adjoining document is an order of Nur Jahan. The square seal states, command on her most sublime and elevated majesty Nur Jahan Padshah Begum. The round seal states, by the son of Shah Jahangir, she became as brilliant as the moon. May Nur Jahan Padshah be the lady of the age. Sulaikul. Jahangir Akbar's son described his father's policy of Sulaikul in the following words. As in the wide expanse of the divine compassion, there is room for all classes and the followers of all creeds. So, in his imperial dominions, which on all sides were limited only by the sea, there was room for the professors of opposite religions and for beliefs good and bad, and the road to intolerance was closed. Sunnis and Shias met in one mosque and Christians and Jews in one church to pray. He constantly followed the principle of universal peace. The Mughal Empire in the 17th century and after. Administrative and military efficiency of the Mughal Empire led to great economic and commercial prosperity. International travelers describe it as the fabled land of wealth. But the same visitors were also appalled at the state of poverty that existed side by side with the greatest opulence. Inequalities were glaring. Documents from the 20th year of Shah Jahan's reign inform us that the highest ranking Mansabdars were only 445 in number out of total of 8,000. The small number, a meager 5.6% of the total number of Mansabdars, received 61.5% of the total estimated revenue of the empire's salaries for themselves and the troopers. The Mughal emperors and the Mansabdars spent a great deal of their income on salaries and goods. This expenditure benefited the artisans and the peasantry who supplied them with goods and produce. But the scale of revenue collection left very little for investment in the hands of the primary producers, the peasant and the artisan. The poorest among them lived from hand to mouth, and they could hardly consider investing in additional resources, tools, and supplies to increase productivity. The wealthier peasantry and artisanal groups, the merchants and the bankers profited in this economic world. Enormous wealth and resources commanded by the Mughal elite made them an extremely powerful group of people in the late 17th century. As the authority of the Mughal emperors slowly decayed, the servants emerged as powerful centers of powers in the regions. They constituted new dynasties and held the command of provinces like Hyderabad and Awadh, although they continued to recognize the Mughal emperor in Delhi as a master by the 18th century. The provinces of the empire had consolidated their independent political identities. That's all about this chapter. If you're interested, please do like, share, and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.